Hi there, it's DRTnOOber here from Viva La Dirt League. I'm here bringing you a brand new series called Old School Game Sessions, where myself and some of the team from Viva La Dirt League will be playing some of our favourite games from the 80s and 90s and re-experiencing them from a modern perspective, having a bit of nostalgia hopefully, looking at the game mechanics, maybe a little bit of the history at the time when the game came out as well. And the very first game that we're going to look at is the second video game I ever played on a computer, Crystal Caves, by Apogee Software. So Crystal Caves was released in 1991, obviously by Apogee Software. The funny thing about Apogee Software is that up until literally 1 week ago, I thought it was Apogee Software. And thankfully DRT Wodism pointed out my mistake, and now I know them as Apogee, but don't be surprised if I refer to them by mistake as Apogee still. In fact, I still think Apogee sounds cooler. You just notice now I've shot this air generator, and there's one of these on every single level. If you shoot it, you die instantly. It's one of those mechanics you just don't see anymore. It's brutal, it's unforgiving. But I miss that about games sometimes. They mother you too much. So anyway, here's the game, here's a level. There's 16 levels in total, and in each level the goal is to collect all the crystals, which sort of leads into the story, which is about a guy called Milo Steamwitz, which is the player character which we see now. So Milo Steamwitz, he's a bit of a no-hoper, and the goal of the game is for him to get rich quick. And the current get rich quick which you are involved in is, there's a star system called the Alteran star system, and there are all these naturally occurring crystals which appear there. So Milo has travelled to the star system and he's collecting all these crystals, hopefully to sell on and make a massive profit. So that's the goal of the game. Pretty cheesy, but I wasn't really playing it for the story at the time, especially as I think I was 8 years old. So yes, the game came out in 1991 as shareware. Obviously that was pretty big in the 90s, shareware. It was part of a trilogy, so there were 3 games to the Crystal Cave story. The first one was open in shareware and was free, and it's the only one that I played, and it's the one I'm playing today. And the other 2 you had to pay for, which I never did. So 1992 was when I first played this, a year after it came out, on my very first computer, which was a 386, 33 megahertz of processing power, 4 megabytes of RAM, a massive 81 megabyte hard drive. It was epic. And Crystal Caves was the second game I ever played on it. The first one was a terrible, terrible Donkey Kong clone called Mario Bros, because that's how it was pronounced. A few things about Apogee. I did it. Oh, I thought I would get away with it. So Apogee Software also released the Commander Keen series, which was obviously massive at the time and still big favourites of some players today. And also Wolfenstein 3D, which revolutionised the gaming industry. They created some other amazing games too, but also in 1991, Sid Meier's Civilization came out, Street Fighter 2 came out, the Super Nintendo was released in North America, so there were a lot of massive gaming things happening, and in the grand scheme of things, Crystal Caves isn't that amazing. But you have to remember that DOS or PC games were well behind the times at this stage, and because I didn't have a console, I didn't know what I was missing out on, so I quite like it. They're quite kind of cute, kind of dinky. There's a sort of colour and sort of flavour about them which you just don't get with console games. So yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I'm sort of proud to say this is sort of part of my video game heritage. So yes, this is the second game I ever clocked. The first one was Secret Agent, which looked exactly identical but just a different theme, and that was the first game I clocked. And DRT Sorak, this was the very first game he ever clocked. And we just see now, collected the last crystal, that's the end of the level. And that's all I've got time for today. This has been the first episode of Old School Game Sessions. I hope you liked it, and we'll be bringing you plenty more in the weeks and the months to come. See you next time.